Today is March 21st, 2020. I'd like to do something different today, give you a little personal story on some developments over the past few days where we had to make a very quick decision on certain aspects of our life in the face of COVID-19 in order to protect our family, in order to protect our multilingual way of life. Hello everybody, welcome to Ask Tetsu, where I share my pro tips on raising bilingual, multilingual and multi-talented kids. If you are new here, please consider subscribing as I have a lot to share with you, mostly based on my upbringing as a polyglot and my own experience raising my 3 kids right now in 5 languages. So, for those of you who are new to my channel, I'd like to first give you a little bit of background, just the minimum required to understand our story today. So first of all, we are a multilingual, multicultural family with a Taiwanese and Japanese heritage living in Quebec, Canada. And we raise our 3 kids in 5 languages. So that's English, French, Japanese, Mandarin, and Spanish. Now also important to understand for this story today is that my wife is pregnant with our 4th kid, and she is due in mid-April. We also have 2 elderlies, that's my parents living under the same roof, and we also have hired an au pair. Now in the picture, this is our past au pair, but right now we are with another one. And to add a little bit more context, every year we live 8 months in Quebec, and from the spring to the summer, the 4 months from end of April to August, we usually go to Japan first, spend about 2 months, 1 to 2 months there, and then go to Taiwan for another month or 2. And the main purpose of this trip to Asia every year is to strengthen Japanese and Mandarin for our kids. And this year, the original plan was to depart on April 24th. So the original plan was to have our 4th kid first here in Canada where we live, and then my wife would first take the first 3 kids to Japan, and I would have followed after. That was the original plan. With the recent development with COVID-19 and the whole coronavirus situation, especially now that in Canada, in the US, in North America, there's an increasing number of patients. Really, just every day it's a different, the situation is changing, and the number is really increasing at a rapid pace. Now, if you see here on this graph that I'm showing here, mainly if you see the vertical axis is the number of patients, and the horizontal axis here is the number of days since each country had 100 patients. So the countries are all sort of standardized to the day where they had 100 patients, and then it's a number of days since that day. So in other words, we're looking at the growth of the number of patients in each country starting from a specific date and seeing the pace of growth. So if you've heard this expression, flatten the curve, this is what this graph is actually showing. So if you have countries that are growing rapidly in number of patients, so going as vertical as possible, so in a short number of days going up is bad. The more the curve is smoothed out, lower, and going that way is better. So if we see you have Canada and the States here, that's really going upwards, and then you've got, like Japan is really flattened out. Japan has already been in the situation. They've reached 100 patients about a month ago, so 4 weeks ago, and US is about 2 weeks ago, and Canada is just over a week, and we see the rate of growth of the number of patients is quite rapid in North America, so you can see that. And the problem with such rapid growth is the healthcare system. So we don't know if the healthcare system will be able to sustain such a rapid growth, and if it will be overwhelmed. Now, how does that affect us? Well, personally, as I mentioned, my wife is pregnant and she's due in about 3-4 weeks. So we have a dilemma whether we want to stay here and deliver the baby here as planned, or perhaps we need to go somewhere else. And from this graph, it does appear that Japan would be a good option now. Maybe not 4 weeks ago, but now it does seem like a pretty good option. I mean, we've also considered things like having a midwife and have the baby delivered here in the house. But anyways, and another thing that's been happening recently is obviously the lockdown of everything, you know, the schools and all the activities, and the effect that it has on our kids, their education for one thing, and social life, and really relevant to this channel is their language development. I mean, staying at home, just speaking with us. Wonder how, you know, if that's a good thing, especially over an extended period, which is what it's looking like it's going to be. And also, we were worried, you know, our original plan was to go to Japan at the end of April. Now, what is the state of the air travel around those days? You know, as a matter of fact, Japan just closed its borders to EU starting. You know, they announced it a few days ago, and as of today, they are not accepting folks from the EU. And I do foresee that North American countries, you know, US, Canada, may be, you know, targeted pretty soon. So we had to make a decision. We made it on March 17th. That's Tuesday, and we made the decision to go to Japan, and had to be quick because my wife is, you know, late in her pregnancy. So we checked out the regulations and found out that she does not have a lot of time before she will not be permitted to go on flights. So we made a very quick decision on March 17th and March 19th. That's 2 days ago. My wife Yuko with three kids and our au pair, they took a flight to Japan. Now they've arrived safely, and they are now in self-isolation for 14 days. I mean, it's not strictly speaking, there's no obligation, but we, you know, given that they've been to the airport, we do consider that it, you know, courteous at least, you know, to stay away from everybody, you know. So really taking the self-distancing, I mean the social distancing to a higher level. So everything happened very quickly. Now here's the overall timeline of events. March 13th in Quebec, they started lockdown. Now this is everything from school to the arena to, you know, every kind of thing that we enjoy and we do outside and, you know, we do socially, except for the ski hill. The ski hill was still open as of March 13th, Friday. And also we began a series of Monopoly games every day. I don't think I've ever played so many Monopoly games in my life with my family, but it was good. And then March 16th, officially the ski hill closed, so that was really the last straw, I guess. We lost everything that we could do outside, and we are really confined to our home. And that really got us thinking, you know, whether we really wanted to stay here or maybe go to Japan. So the decision was made on March 17th. Japan really just seemed like a safer place for the delivery of our baby, and also just seemed like there was higher potential for our kids to sort of get back to a you know, normal life, hopefully with the lockdown in Japan being lifted as soon as possible. And March 19th they were gone. So what happened since they left? March 20th. So March 19th, the number of confirmed cases in Canada was really growing rapidly, and but it was still less than Japan. And ironically, March 20th, the cases of Canadian cases, the number of Canadian cases surpassed that of Japan. And 1 day later, it was announced that all schools in Quebec will most likely be closed until at least May. And at the same time, we got the news that Japanese schools, including those in Nagasaki where we're going, they officially announced that they were starting on April 8th. So that's literally a few days after our kids will be done with their quarantine. So fate would have it that, I think so far it does seem like we made a good decision to bring to send them to Japan, and now they will be able to sort of get back to a normal life, albeit in a different country. Now in Japan, as we usually do every year, they'll start their experience a little earlier and have a bigger immersion experience for this year, I guess. And they'll actually have a chance to experience the Japanese school start ceremony. They call it the Nyugakushiki every year. Every year when school starts, they'll have a little ceremony. So that's a nice bonus. So, but it's not all hunky-dory, of course. There are costs to this decision. Not just money. I mean, that's really secondary. But with my aging parents who are living here, I did have to decide to stay back. And if anything happens here, I need to coordinate a lot of things and really take care of my parents. So it's a big and important reason why I stayed back. I will, of course, not be able to see my kids for a few months. That's tough. It's tough. We spend a lot of time together. So for a few months I won't be able to see them. Hopefully not longer than that, but who knows? With the borders closing, we just don't know how the situation is going to turn out. But fingers crossed. So another very important cost, I guess, to this whole situation is I will be missing the birth of my fourth baby. I was there for the first three, but everyone is special, so I'm a bit sad about missing that, but oh well. There are priorities, and I think we've made an important and good choice. So that's it. That's it for today. I don't know. You guys can let us know what you think. Did we do the right thing? Put it down in the comments. So a little off topic from the usual raising multilingual children, but I hope you got something out of this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like it, do a little comment, share it definitely, subscribe, and ring that little notification bell so you can follow our adventures in real time. I'll see you in the next video.